It's June already, I can't believe it. I started this place in February. It's the 3rd of June, it's a Wednesday, it's after work. Oh, I did my Bristol race. Said I would. I got the t-shirt. Sub 40 minutes, pretty good. I had a good fun time in Bristol. Lots of crowds out in the rain, and it's been raining here. Torrential the last few days and breezy, but nothing's blown down. I'm quite happy about that. It's my turn to cook tonight, and look what I found in Waitrose, San Marzano tomatoes. Now, I tried growing these last year in pots outside my house, and they suffered from blossom end rot. Whether I'd overwatered them or not watered them enough, I certainly fed them a lot, I don't know, but these are supposed to be the best tasting sauce tomatoes you can buy. I saw it on TV, so it must be true. Now, I'm not growing those, I'll be eating those. But the tomatoes are put in the makeshift cold frame from last week. They've shot up already, look at that. So I'm going to have to find a place for those this week, I think. But for tonight, speaking of things shooting up, the Maris Pipers. Look at those, you know, as high as my hips now, and I've got, you know, long legs. I don't know how much soil I can put on those. I'm going to have to find it from somewhere, probably over there. So that's this evening's job. And just enjoying the sun and the bird song. Such a nice evening. I hope you're having a good day where you are. Okay, some earthing up was done. It's now 7 o'clock, so I've been here an hour and a half. Setting sun. Hasn't taken me an hour and a half to do that. It's taken me most of the time. I've been chatting up at Andy's plot and sharing a beer and talking about allotments and things like that. He was saying this place is one of the oldest allotments in Bath, and it was used by the soldiers in the war for sort of rest and recuperation. And I can see why. I'm quite relaxed and recuperated. It might have been the beer that he gave me, but yeah, with a little bit of work, a little bit of friendly chat, it's all good for the soul, I'm sure. It's Friday evening. I came here at lunchtime, actually, from work, and discovered, much to my dismay, there was activity on the carrots. Look at that. Something has dug all the way down, taken the carrots out, so I've lost two sets of carrots. Sad times. Still, on the plus side, harvested the rest of the radishes, so that leaves me you can hear me over the noise, a row there which I'm going to put some, I think I've got lettuces or cabbages, I can't remember what I've got, but those will go in once I've weeded that. Tonight I am just putting some more chipped bark down on the path, and hopefully harvesting some peas for tea and some purple sprouting broccoli, which is the first thing I planted, which is that. Oh, there we go. That's getting pretty big, so that's ready for the table. So I'm going to have that tonight. Right, nice quiet evening. Let's get to work. It's the moment of truth for the peas. There we go. The strimmer is still going. I'm not sure if they're ripe or not, so I'm just going to open a pod. It doesn't want to come off, so I'm guessing not. I might need to put you down, hang on. I got peas, a big handful of peas, look at that. And there's still loads to go. Big smiles. So I've got peas, broccoli, some radishes, and in the shed I've got steak, but I didn't grow that. It's a bit of a noisy night here. What's left to do? I'm just going to do a quick go on this path, and I'm going to toddle on home and eat those while they're still fresh. Saturday, I've already got sweat on. I bought about 400 kilos of manure from the garden centre. So that's going to go into the cornfield bed today. What else are we doing? I think might leave the tomatoes where they are, but where the radishes were, I think I've got something to put into there. Earthing up potatoes seems to be the new chore. They've grown even in a week. I think last time they were just up to here, now they're about an inch or two higher. So they have to be earthed up. We won't talk about the onions. We've already had a wake for those. Time to get the muscles working. Let's get some digging. So for the top of the cornfield, well, the soil's been looked after pretty well. It's kind of dry and dusty, needs some organic matter. So I'm going to dig in some manure for that. I already put manure in the bottom of it, but it's still very rooty. That's going to get covered. So there's manure underneath that. Everything's got a sprinkling of bone meal to try and give it some more food for the plants. And then I'm going to lift some soil from over there and stick it at the bottom. So it's going to be root, manure, soil sandwich. So I hope the corn likes. Everyone likes a manure sandwich. You won't be able to see them, but up in the tree there, 2 jays have just arrived, which is nice. The other allotment holders told me there were jays around here, but they didn't come around very often, so that's a good thing. Ploughing on, as they say. I've learned something new. Don't dig downwind of a manure pile. It's very smelly. I did take some time out to go and weed some of the lavender and the rosemary. I could smell it on my hands, but that's pretty pongy. Gardening's always about learning, and one thing I learned was this hugelkultur bed was too shady and too damp. So the onions, well, they didn't do very well. You can see the potatoes, loved it, but the onions didn't do very well. So I'm going to cut my losses. I'm going to pull up that bed. It's still got lots of bindweed in, so I've pulled up more of that. A pile of it over there. And I'm going to put some cabbages in. There we go, we've got some red cabbages because I think they'll do quite well in this partial shade and the dampness. Plus there are no slugs and snails out here. They're all up there or in the posh allotments up the top. So we're going to put, I think it will cover the ground pretty well. It also means it makes weeding easier. You can probably see weeds everywhere. So when the onions were in, having to hoe around those was really tricky, especially with the bindweed. So I'm hoping for an easier life and a more productive bed. There's the cabbages in, with some straw mulch around. I think that's my thing now, straw mulch. It'll just keep critters away from it. It looks a lot better. I'm much happy with that. We've got the soil conditioner on the top, so that's raising the bed a bit more. We've still got all the branches and twigs and bushes underneath that as part of our hugelkultur bed. So it's retained a lot of the moisture. When I was digging it through, it's still quite moist, which is good. And then this bank, it just makes it easier to get into these potatoes as well and earth those up. So I'm very pleased with that. It's much better than it was. But then I have to think of something else to do, get the onions in. I'm not sure where to put those. We'll sort that one out another time. But for now, soil done there, time for lunch. Well, yesterday I put in the cabbage in the hugelkultur bed because it's too damp for the onions, and this morning I had some watercress plants hanging around, as you do, so I put those in the back of the bed where they should be quite well sheltered and keep nice and moist. Good morning, by the way. It's Sunday, it's about 9:30. Also did some planting up the top here. Well, got some lemon thyme, so I put that in this morning. It needs lots of drainage, so there's lots of grit in there. And you can see some of the wildflowers I sowed, what, 2 weeks ago, starting to come up. So that's good. So I have to keep this bed quite well watered at the moment because the trees are sucking up all the moisture. Looking forward to those coming up. More digging today, I'm tripping over roots. I've got part way through the corn bed, more to do. Headphones on, get the podcasts going, get digging. So 2.5 hours of work today. Let's try and adjust that. We have a bed for the corn. The corn I've got is called it's Early Gold F1. So I've got 24 of these plants to put in. I put the fertilizer in and then I've put some bone meal on the top, some more bone meal, and rake that in. Try to flatten it out. It's quite a big space, and because that's nice and flat, this bit here next to the original patch, that's now flat as well. So we've got a two for one. Oh, while I'm here, have a look at the chilies. They're doing well. And train going by. I think that's a small one, so that's probably come from the south coast. Right, let's dig some rows and get the cornfield in. I've reused some of the old plastic piping I found over there about a month ago. Put some string out, made a drill, so I've made a trench, I suppose. And then with another piece of plastic, I'll use those to measure the distance between where I'm going to put the corn, and then put in some mycorrhizal fungi to help with their root growth. So another tray. Time to put them in. There's a plant, very good roots. I tried to grow sweet corn from the corns itself, from seed, but had no luck. So what I do is just go to the garden centre and pick up these little plants. There he goes. You can see the mycorrhizal grains there. Cover it up. I've pre-watered this trench just because some of the soil is quite dry on top. Don't want these guys to dry out. So I'm going to carry on with that and then give them an extra water in. First one in. Feels good. I don't know if you can make it out. It's very shady and very bright at the same time, so the iPhone will have problems coping with that. But we have a cornfield. We have ridge and furrow. Ridges to try and get the maximum amount of heat into these, because obviously they're heat-loving plants, like the chilies, which are doing quite well next door. I'm hoping the sun's going to come over and give them a bit more sunlight. Well, I'm very pleased with that. That's about 2.5 hours work today. It was about 3 hours of work yesterday, and then the previous week about 2 hours to clear the site itself. So there's a lot of work, but I have a cornfield. I have baby corn anyway.